Hello, I'm Nancy Santilli, Superintendent of the Kenston Schools. I hope that you're enjoying this beautiful summer, and thank you for your patience as we work to create plans for the return to school. We have been in continual contact with public health officials, as well as families and staff, to make the best possible decisions. Please understand that the information we are sharing today is based on our current circumstances locally. As we enter the fall, COVID presents unique challenges that will undoubtedly require refinements and changes to these plans as we return to school.
Utilizing the best practices, working with our health department, and using parent survey input, our students will return to school for full-time in-person student instruction beginning on Monday, August 17th. Please note this change from the previously published calendar.
COVID-19 has been part of our lives since March, and we expect to feel its continued impact through the 2021 school year. While we are looking forward to returning to normal this year, this will be dramatically different than any of our students have ever experienced. The safety, health, and well-being of your children and our staff is, of course, at the forefront of all of our decisions. We have established a web page where you can find updates, frequently asked questions, and information related to our school's reopening. At Kenston, our students, parents, staff, and community members are our district's heart and soul, and every effort to support their health and well-being remains paramount to that purpose. I would like to outline our plan for the responsible restart and returning our students and staff to our buildings this fall as we continue to work through the COVID-19 pandemic together. I will briefly go through our practices for daily health checks, cleaning and disinfecting, hand washing, social distancing, our face covering policy, how our students will be transported to school, and some highlights of what the daily schedules will look like, and the introduction of additional technology for our students. Although this has been a unique challenge, we have seen that we can accomplish whatever we set out to do together. Our teachers and support staff have demonstrated commitment as they've adapted to meet our students' needs with care and compassion. I know that they will continue to serve our children as we address this year's challenges together. There is a lot of information to share, and these plans are subject to change as we navigate and adapt to the evolving conditions. I'm going to share what we know today. We received the Reset and Restart Planning Guide from the Ohio Department of Education and the COVID-19 Health and Prevention Guidance from Ohio K-12 schools from the Ohio Department of Health. We have also carefully studied the American Academy of Pediatrics document, COVID-19 Planning Considerations, Guidance for School Reentry. And these documents share health recommendations and guidelines for operating school this year, especially as conditions change. We have also been working in coordination with the Geauga County Health Department and our families through this process. We appreciate that partnership that we have had with Geauga County Health Commissioner, Mr. Tom Quaid, who has been on site to review and work collaboratively with us to develop our plans to return students and staff to our classrooms.
As noted earlier, the first day of school for students will be Monday, August 17th. During the course of the school year, we may add additional professional development days to the calendar to support the needs of our staff.
At this time, we are planning that our back to school meet the teacher and orientations will be conducted virtually. The same will hold true also for our fall parent teacher conferences. And additional information will be shared with you closer to those events. The traditional printed calendar will arrive at homes during the beginning of August. It will look a little different. Some events have been eliminated from the schedule, and others are on the calendar without time or location. And we did this to remain flexible as the situation continues to evolve. I encourage you to utilize the QR code to directly take you to the district calendar on the web page for real-time updated information. Also, you can follow the directions to add these calendar dates to your digital calendars. Based on the survey results from over 2,200 respondents, We know that the majority of our families wanted their children to return to school full time. With this information and the Ohio Department of Health and the Ohio Department of Education guidance, we plan to resume 5 days a week in-person instruction for our students. We have addressed the safety and social distancing guidance to allow all students to attend each school day. We recognize that some students may require an online learning plan due to a medical condition or any compromised health. And I ask that you contact your building principal to discuss those options. Please note that once your student is signed up for any of the online school, students will be obligated to attend until the end of the semester for high school and the full year for children in grades kindergarten through 8th grade. We are returning students to school by implementing and upholding the Ohio Department of Health Safety guidelines. We will diligently assess for symptoms, wash and sanitize hands to prevent spread, thoroughly clean and sanitize our school environment to limit the spread on shared surfaces, practice social distancing, implement a face covering policy, and by implementing these proven practices as layers of protection and supporting a culture of safety, work to safeguard and limit the risk for our students and staff. We will continue to diligently assess for symptoms. We know that this is a critical layer of protection, and that does begin at home. And we need your help this year in assessing those symptoms by performing a daily check. It is critical for both students, with assistance from their parents, and all of our staff to check for the following every day before they leave home. Please check the temperature to ensure it is below 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Observe for symptoms including coughing or experiencing shortness of breath. Look for signs of illness, which could include flushed cheeks and/or fatigue. Keep students or staff at home if they do have any of these symptoms consistent with COVID-19, or if they've had close contact with a person diagnosed with COVID-19. We will require hand washing breaks for students, and hand sanitizer will be plentiful in all of our classrooms, school buses, and high traffic areas. We will establish routines where we will thoroughly clean and sanitize shared spaces. These practices are something that we have always taken seriously, and we will increase our efforts. High touch areas will be disinfected frequently, and these precautions certainly will become the new normal. To manage social distancing, we will implement the American Academy of Pediatrics recommended social distancing of 3 to 6 feet wherever possible in our classrooms. When social distancing cannot be guaranteed, face coverings must be employed as another protective barrier. An audit of every learning space has been conducted and will spread students out as much as possible in our classrooms. We recognize that for our students and teachers, there is a challenge between optimal instructional strategies and adherence to current physical restrictions. We've purchased individual desk shields for students and installed plexiglass dividers to serve as protective barriers. We will also use wall and floor signage to create one-way traffic patterns. And whenever possible, we will also eliminate or limit the use of shared supplies or use established protocol to clean between uses on those supplies. Now to talk about face coverings. Face coverings will be required in school for all staff members and students unless there's a medical reason an individual who cannot wear a mask or face covering is necessary. Students are required to wear a face covering on the school bus. And we understand that wearing a face covering is not what our students are used to and sometimes can be a little uncomfortable. We will all work on this together to always be able to maintain best practice social distancing guidelines. Parents, we're asking you to provide a face covering for your child as part of their back to school supplies. And I ask that you encourage your children to practice wearing a face mask this summer so that they become acclimated to wearing a protective face covering before the start of school. We will continue to offer transportation to and from school for our students. Face coverings will be required on our buses and our school vans, and students will have assigned seats with no more than 2 per seat. All transportation vehicles will be cleaned and disinfected following each bus route. Over 50% of our parents indicated that they would be willing to provide their own transportation to and from school. And we appreciate you working with us to increase the social distance on the school buses. In the upcoming days, we will ask you to complete an opt-out form to assist us with our planning. Here are some of the details of the student's daily schedule. Also refer to each school's back to school plan in the email you received and also posted it on our webpage. Your building principal will provide more detail as we get closer to the start of the school year. Lunches will look different at each building. At Timmins, students will eat either in the cafeteria or in the classroom with the opportunity to have prepackaged meals delivered to them. At Kenston Intermediate School, grab and go options will be available with individual desks socially distanced in both the cafeteria and innovation lab. Middle and high school students will eat in their cafeterias, decreasing the number of students at each table, and we will use floor markings to remind them of social distancing practices while they wait in line. At the elementary schools, recess will be a time for students to get outside, and we certainly encourage that. Our staff will remind them of the importance of social distancing and encourage them to play independently. We will continue our special and our encore classes, working to limit shared materials. Creative scheduling, staggering the class change, and creating one-way traffic flow will be utilized district-wide to minimize students in the common areas. While we would like to hope that we will not need to transition to online learning, our students will be prepared with the tools they need to learn and succeed should remote learning be required. We have invested in individual Chromebooks for students in kindergarten through fifth grades, and all students district-wide now have access to a district-issued device. We recognize and appreciate all that our volunteers do to help the school, but to protect our students and staff and for the safety of all, we will be limiting the volunteers and visitors in our buildings. Any visitor entering a building will be required to complete a daily assessment of symptoms and to wear a mask. We will change drop-off and pickup procedures to limit the traffic within each of our school buildings. In the interest of safety, we are not planning any field trips this year, and many of our traditional in-person events will be scheduled virtually. Our number one goal is to always provide a safe and nurturing learning environment where students grow academically, socially, and emotionally. Please stay safe this summer. Utilizing recommended public health safety protocols will help keep our Kenston community healthy and increase our ability to keep our students in school. We know that we still have work to do, and we will continue to update you as additional information becomes available over the next several weeks. We appreciate your ongoing partnership and shared responsibility that will be critical as we return to school. Thank you for your continued support of the Kenston schools. Please be safe and stay well.